Hey, good morning, everyone. How are you all? I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving last week and enjoyed the holiday weekend. And I hope you all also got a lot of your shopping done. But before we begin, I do want to make sure y'all can hear me. So if you can locate that chat button on the left-hand side of your screen, and yes, I can hear you. Good to go. Good morning. Then I know that my sound is working. You should also be able to now see my screen. And so I do want to make sure that you can hear me and also that my screen share is working so that we can go through this eSign functionality and how that all works. Alyssa, Jan, Shawnee, Celine, can you all hear me? Thanks, Anne. Awesome. So without further ado, I don't know how many of you know, this is one of those tools that's within IQ Office that many people don't know is there. Celine, refresh your screen. Anne said that she can see my screen. You should see a big orange screen. It says IQ Office. Awesome. Thanks, Chris. So once you log into your IQ Office, and I know that we've got a couple people on the line that are admins, so I just want to address a couple things. You can upload your own forms to IQ Office, and you can create templates. That's where we're going to start today. The nice thing about creating an eSign template is once it's created, you can apply it to that form over and over and over again. We also have a full eSign capability. So your customers can receive an eSign from you, digitally review the file, and then choose to sign it. It comes with completion certificates and all of the above. So without further ado, we're going to start with that process. To begin, hey Jim, to begin the process of using the eSign, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have your forms that you want to use on your computer. So I've got some forms here. I'm going to actually go in here to my desktop, and we can see here I've got some forms. So I've got an agency disclosure brochure. I've got an inspection contingency notice, purchase and sale. So you're going to want to make sure that you have those forms on your computer. If you're using like a Form Simplicity or something like that from your MLS, let me see, I'll show you how it works in ours so that you know you can easily just download those. So you would go into the forms system. And again, I don't know all of the form system that you all are using. If you're using Form Simplicity, this is what it looks like. You go into blank forms. You would choose the forms that you wanted to use and say, hey, this is the form I want to download. And then you can easily download it to your computer. The download starts, it's available. So once you have those forms on your computer, you can upload them to your files library. So you can go into your files and go into your home folder. Jan, that's something that's on the Zoho end. I've been working on it for a while now, and I haven't gotten a good answer from them on why. It is being recorded. I'll also do a live on Facebook a little bit later as well. I just want to make sure you know what the tool is and where it is. I can make my screen bigger, but I don't know. Is that a little bit better? Okay. So we can upload those files to your home folder. That way, no matter where you are, they're accessible. You're also not having to re-upload those files over and over again. So I'm going to go into my home folder. I can either add a folder here, or I can just upload forms. I click the upload button. Again, that was underneath files on the left-hand side, home folder in the middle, and then upload here in the upper right. And then I'm going to add files. So I can go in, I'm going to go and I'm going to locate my file on my computer. And I'm going to select the file or files that I want to upload, and it's going to automatically upload those files to my home folder. And now here they all are. Now, to access the eSign tool, if I want to just do a one-time eSign, I'm never going to use that form again, or I just need to get something out, this is a great tool also for office admins. If you don't have access to a DocuSign and you need to send something out to your agent to sign, you're going to go in and you're going to go to the Tools and Preferences box on the left-hand side of your screen. When you do that, you can see underneath there's a standard and it will say Dashboard, Do Not Call, and then there's the eSign button. When you click that, it will open up your eSign dashboard. As an office administrator, you are going to see all the eSigns that are out for your office. As an agent, you're only going to see your eSigns. And you can see in here, there's several different statuses. So you can have a void eSign. You can have an opened. That means this was sent and it was opened, but it has not been signed yet. You can have a declined. And you can also have a sent. So I can see that it's sent, it's not finished. And you can have a completed. So there's several different statuses. It will tell you the status under the status heading here on the left-hand side. You also will be able to see the name as well as the recipient of that eSign. So that's everything that's on that eSign dashboard. Let me get out of this processing screen really quickly. How many of you on the call are using transactions? So are using the financials part of IQ Office? So one, okay, perfect. So for those of you that are using this, I'm going to scroll out really quickly just to show you one. Perfect. Okay, Jan. There is a financial screen here. And when we get to this financial screen, know that you can, as an office administrator, when we get to eSign templates, you're going to access it underneath the financial icon, not underneath the tools and preferences. And that any of the documents that you have in a transaction, you can attach to an eSign. So know that that's coming down the line in this training as well. To begin though, we're going to just walk through how to do a new eSign. So we're going to push the plus new in the upper right-hand corner. We did try when we were making this part of the software to make it very similar to all the other wizards you were used to seeing. So I can see here that this is an eSign packet wizard and the first page is about the details. If you are an office administrator and you need to send out an eSign on behalf of an agent, you will see a section at the top that says agent, and you can select the agent from the drop-down list. So I could go in and I could say, hey, this needs to come out from Kelsey Anfinson Fulton. I'm going to name the packet. So you're going to name the eSign session something you will remember. So maybe I name this Celine Toth home sale, her address, and then 2019 or something along those lines. You would want to put in like the actual address so that you would know. And I'm going to show you where that shows at the completion of setting this up. Then below that, you have the option to set up reminders. The first reminder happens after how many days? The second reminder after how many days? The third reminder after how many days does this expire? And warrant of expiration. So you can actually choose, I want to send the first reminder after the first day, the second after the second day, the third after the third day. It expires after 4 days and remind of the expiration 1 day before. So now if my client does not sign it on the first day, the second day, the third day, and it expires on the 5th day, they're getting a reminder the first, the second, the third, and the 4th day. It expires on the 5th. Does that make sense to everyone? Thank you, Sue. Below that, it is going to show me any of the transactions. So For those of you on the call that are not using the transaction system, ignore what I'm going to say right now for just a moment. I'll let you know when to tune back in. For those of you that are using the transaction system, if I need to pull a file from that transaction, it is going to list all the transactions associated with the agent I selected above. So the agent that's up here in this agent slot, all their transactions are going to show underneath the transaction. And I can actually choose the transaction by selecting the listing side next to it. Does that make sense? So I can click listing and it's going to pull that transaction paperwork. Now, for those of you that aren't using transactions, you can turn back in. If you're not using transactions, this portion is not going to populate, and you're just going to click the next button. Once I click the next button, it's going to ask me about the email. So what do I want the email subject for the eSign session to be? So this is, hey, Stephen, this is the email subject that's going to go out to the client. So this could be, there's a way to search, Chris. So you'll be able to search through, or you're able to scroll through. And it's a pretty fast process, because you're narrowing them down by the agent. You can also send out, I believe, directly from the transaction, but let me get back to you on that. So I'm going to give the email subject headline. So this is going to be home sale paperwork needs signatures. I can then also choose of who I want to notify. So if I want to be CC'd, I'm going to get notifications from IQ office, so I don't necessarily want that. But if I want my assistant to be notified, or I want the transaction email to be notified, or I want to CC the title person, whoever it is, I can add that in also notified. And then I can add an email body. Hey, Celine, paperwork, the paperwork for your transaction is below. If you have any questions, let me know. And below that is the most wonderful thing ever. There is a section that says, send text message notification, yes or no. How many of you have clients that don't read their email unless they know there's an email in there that they need to read? I'm assuming you're all shaking your head yes. If you're not shaking your head yes, I can't see you. So make sure you're typing in that chat box. It helps me out a lot. So I can say, yes, I want to send a text message notification. It will automatically default to yes. This is actually something you have to turn off. So if I don't want it to be yes, I have to go into the no section. So if I want to turn it off, I can click no. If I want to keep it on, I leave it on yes. And then because I selected a transaction, it's going to automatically pull the list of people that are associated with that transaction into a column where I can easily just click to add a recipient. I also can go in and I can search, and I can add additional recipients. Once I've added everyone who needs to receive this, I'm going to click the next button at the bottom of the screen, and it is going to now let me upload a file. So if you're using transactions, there's a button at the top right here. I know this part is blurry and I apologize. So there's a button right here that I'm highlighting. You can see it flashing. This says transaction documents. Next to that, it says home folder documents. So if I want to use a transaction document, I click there. I can select the document from the transaction to attach. If I want to use the home folder documents, I click on the home folder documents, and then I can say, okay, I need to use this document. Or I can add files. This green button says add files. So I can click and I can add a file. So I'm going to add my, actually I just downloaded the lead disclosure brochure. I want to add that. I upload it. Oh, shoot. And I hit next. Don't hit cancel. This is what I get for going too fast. I'm going to speed through the next section so that you can see it. And we're not going too slow. Ready for signing. Okay, so I'm adding a transaction document. Here's the document here. I'm adding a home folder document if I want to, or I'm uploading a file. That's my lead-based paint disclosure. Awesome. I can see my documents here. So if I'm using transactions and I need these to attach to a checklist item, I can choose that checklist item from the checklist item column. If you are not using transactions, ignore the checklist item information I just gave you. This is not going to show on your screen. We're going to talk about templates next. You can create a template and you can easily apply it. You're going to select it from the drop down here. But if you're just doing, oh, hey, I need a one-time sign, I'm not using a template, I'm not using transactions, you're just going to click next at the bottom of the screen. This is going to take a minute to process. It's taking those PDF files and it's changing them into actual documents online that you can drag and drop. A few quick notes. The files you upload have to be in PDF form. If you don't know how to make a document a PDF, so you have a Word document, you need it to be signed. You're going to go to File, Save As, and below the name of the file, there's a drop-down menu. You're going to select Save As PDF, and then you're going to upload. If the file is not a PDF, you cannot use it in the eSign program. So now I'm actually able to see this. So I've got my first form here, and on the left-hand side, I've got the information. So I can see all my recipients. I can see the signature, initials, checkbox. So I can say, okay, this box needs to be checked. I've got a couple signatures here. I need an initial on this form. As I scroll down, okay, I'm going into my next form here. It says that lead-based paint disclosure PDF. I can say, hey, I need the recipient's data to fill in here. If I need to change this, I click on it and it's going to say, okay, the recipient, I need it to be their address. And I want to make sure it's large enough to fill. So I'm going to make it fill that file. Okay. I can also go back and I can say, let's see, there is presence of a lead. So I'm going to actually put a checkbox here. I'm going to edit that checkbox. Is it something that is required, yes or no? And I don't want it to be checked. So I'm going to click OK. And I can actually put in all the checkboxes here. Them required or read only. So if I know that the homeowner needs to choose one of these, I can just put in all my check marks really easily. I'm unchecking the boxes so that they can make that choice. And this is just a drag and drop system. As I scroll down to the bottom, I can say, okay, I'm at the bottom of the form. Bottom of the form here, but I need to put a signature here and I need to put a date and time here. Once I've added all my signatures, I'm going to click next and I'm going to click finish. Now in my top, I can see, okay, I am going in, I am looking at my dashboard here. On your dashboard, you can search for a packet. So I could actually go in and I can say, hey, I need to search for a packet. I'm going to search for anything that's going on with that, what's happening. You know, here's this one's been sent, what's going on. Here's my Karen Capron packet for Celine home sale. It's pending. It's been sent. I want you to also know on the right-hand side, you're going to see an actions button. And underneath that actions button, you can see the documents that were sent out. You can also go in and you can see the recipients. You can resend it. Oh, you call your client says they didn't get it. Awesome. You can click resend and resend it right from here so they get it again. You also can see the history. So I can go in and I can say, hey, I need to see the history of this. Okay, here's the start of it. I added a recipient. I changed the subject line. It was sent to Scott White. It was sent again. So it was sent at 8:19 and it was sent at 8:21. The entire history of everything you're doing will be in that history box. The other thing you can do is you can void it. Ooh, I made a mistake. I need to void that out. You can void that packet. It will be voided and it will show a status of void. Any questions so far about how to start or walk through that wizard of the eSign packet? Chris, I need you to expand a little bit about what you're looking for. Can we have a notification setting be a default with override possible? The notifications for who? For the client? Oh, at the very beginning? I don't know the answer to that. I'll have to ask development. I don't know. I've never been asked that question. So Chris's question was on this screen. So when you start a new packet at the beginning, there are reminders, first reminder, second reminder, third reminder, expiration, and warn of expiration. Can you set those as company default so that they automatically default to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, none? And I don't know. I'll find out. And Chris, I will post that answer in the Facebook page today. Okay, so eSign templates. This is great for like, hey, I want to use this as my eSign platform. I want to set myself up so my forms are in here. I'm going to go in. I'm going to go to Tools and Preferences on the left-hand side. And then underneath that standard header here, there is a section that's called eSign templates. When I open up the eSign templates, I can actually upload a form, create a template, and then I can use that template every time. So this might be the lead-based paint disclosure form. And I might put in here that this is the 2019 form. I click next. I'm going to upload that document. I'm going to go in. Here's my lead-based paint disclosure. It's uploaded. And now I am going to create a template. So this looks very similar to eSign. The difference is these names over here say contact 1, contact 2, contact 3, contact 4. Now I can go through and I am going to choose, okay, recipient data. This needs to be recipient's data. Over here, I'm going to say recipient who? Is it contact 1, contact 2, contact 3, contact 4? So this is contact 1 and it's their address. I can then choose a check mark. Again, when I do that check mark, is it which contact is it? So you may be doing a form where you have more than one contact. So we can say, hey, one of these boxes needs to be checked. The client is going to check the box. The purchaser's acknowledgement, this is a buyer's acknowledgement. I don't want that to be templated out when it goes out for the seller. I do want the seller's signature for contact 1 here. Contact 1, it's required. And then if I need to add a second signature, I'm just going to click on contact 2. And I'm going to grab that signature and I'm going to drag and drop it in the right file. Again, these are time stamped, but if you wanted to add a date and time, you could do that. I can say, hey, date. Oh, and I didn't change which person it was. Not a big deal. Just so you know, if I drag and drop this, so when I drag and drop this, they're all color coded. So I can see that this yellow doesn't match this green. But if I need to edit this without dragging and dropping, I can click on it and I can change it back to contact 1 and it will change that. Then I click next. I have my template name. It's done. It's finished. So now if I go back and I do an eSign session, tools preferences, eSign, create new. Okay, I'm going to name this my lead disclosure for Jan Burnham, December 2019. I'm going to say there's no transaction. I'm going to put the subject, lead form we talked about. Email, yes, type in my contacts. If I have more than one person, I just keep typing their name. It won't let you insert someone without email address. So your contacts do need to have an email address. Then I can go, okay, I'm going to add that file, lead-based paint. It could be in my home folder, so I could add it from my home folder. Then underneath this template, I'm going to say lead-based paint disclosure form, next. Then when I get to the next screen, instead of having to drag and drop those, they're already there. I'm just reviewing. Okay, yep, this is the address. These are the check boxes. Yep, good to go. I actually need to make sure that I add maybe a third person here. I can do that. Okay, I need another checkbox here so that it's double acknowledged. So you can add to that template. You also can take something off. Okay, I did this. It's the wrong thing. I need to take that off. I can delete it. This is not the right box. I'm going to just take that off and click next. Then when I go in, I can review it all and I can click finish and it's being sent out. Our contacts pulled from the transaction. So for those of you using transactions, if you attach it to a transaction, the contacts that are associated with that transaction are going to pull. If you are not using transactions, all your customer relation information is pulling from this customer relations tab. And even within transactions, Chris, I know we haven't gotten to that training part with you yet, and you're rolling it out here shortly. All of the transactions information is pulling from your customer relations tab. As you update customers in a transaction, it updates that customer relations tab. Does that answer your question? Cool. So now I can see here, it's sent, it's a lead disclosure, it's pending. What I want to do is show you what that looks like for the client. So when the client gets the email, let's see if it's gotten to my email yet. It doesn't look like it has yet, but I'm going to just refresh here. I'm also going to go to this email. Okay. So here's the email that goes out. It says, here's the lead form we talked about. To view and sign the documents, please click on the link below or copy and paste this link. I'm going to just click and view and sign. What's nice about this is for the client, let me zoom in. For the client, it opens up the document first. So the client can go through and they can say, okay, I'm reading this information first. Once I go to click something or sign something, then it brings up, I would like to choose my signature and I'm agreeing to the terms of digital signatures. Yes. And now I'm good to go. Once they're done, they hit this continue button. And the client can either download it here as a signed form, or they also get an email saying, hey, here's the form once all parties have signed. So now if I refresh this page, it's going to show that this is opened and that it's 50% complete and that it has been signed by Kelsey Fulton and that we're still waiting on this Kelsey Anfinson Fulton to sign it, but she's opened it. What questions do you have for me? I want to make sure that I'm answering your questions, but that is the eSign in a nutshell. So just a quick review on where you find it. You log into your IQ office, you go to tools and preferences, you can find the eSign or the eSign templates underneath your tools and preferences. To start a new eSign, you're going to click that plus new in the upper right-hand corner. And a template, you're templating out the form of the fields that need to be filled in or signed so that you can use them in the future. This is how I would practice. I would log into my IQ office. I would make sure that I was a contact in my customer relations tab, and I would send out some things to myself. There is nothing better than practicing something than filling it out, doing it yourself, and sending it to yourself. That does two things. One, it gives you practice doing it as the agent. Two, it lets you know how the customer receives it so that you can help them when you have a client who is less technology savvy and needs help going in and figuring out how things works. Jan, yes, there is a full section in the YouTube channel on how to use the eSign in short bits. And then you can break down and use it there. This will also be posted on the Facebook and the YouTube channel and emailed out. Jim, that's a great question. So Jim asks, can you have it send to one recipient and then when it's completed, send to another recipient? Right now, Jim, the way we're set up is to simultaneously sign. So if you wanted to send it to one first and then send it to another, so like say this lead disclosure, I wanted to send it to one first and then the other, what I'd have to do, send it out to one, and go in and wait for it to be signed. And then I could actually go in and download the documents. And I would then upload it and do a second session. I will talk to the development team about that, if that's possible to add an option that is simultaneous sign or inline signing. I don't know how difficult that would be to add. And so right now you'd have to do that as two separate sessions, send it out the first time. Once it's signed, get it, upload it, and send it out to the second person. But right now it's just simultaneous sign. So I'll have to ask the dev team about that. Good question. Yeah, so the next question is, how about sending a document automatically, for example, to escrow once all have signed? When you're doing that eSign, if you want it to go to escrow at the same time as it goes to everyone else, what you'll want to do is you'll want to put there in that also notified, Chris, you'll want to put that escrow email address of who else needs to get it. So then once it's completed, they would get notified with documentation. Other questions? Alrighty, if there are no other questions. Yeah, so Jan, what they'd receive is they would receive a notification of completion, declined, or expiration. And that's what it says underneath here. I know it's blurry, so you can't read it, but this underneath there, it says also notify of completion, declined, or expired. So if someone declines it, it expires, or it's completed, then they're notified. They're not notified about like, hey, people need to sign it. And they're not getting all the reminder notifications. Nope, they would not receive the unsigned doc. So I'm saying they do not get the notification of the unsigned document or any of the reminders for the unsigned document. They only get the completed if someone declines the signing or the signing expires. Yep. So Jim, yes. So Jim said, if you're using transaction, will it automatically upload to the checklist when the item is completed? So if I go in and I choose this transaction here, the 3729 Enfield, I say this needs to be the listing side. There's a document. The email is out for signatures. And I want a text message notification. This is going to Kelsey. And then I'm adding a transaction document or several. So you can check more than one box in here if you would like. There's multiple documents. Then when I choose the checklist item and say, hey, this is the listing addendum, this is the file information sheet, this is the text message email letters, and this is the lead-based paint. Once they complete those files, they automatically attach to the checklist as unaccepted. So they still have to be reviewed by your admin, but they automatically attach to that checklist item. It is pretty cool. Other questions? Here's those forms. Say, hey, this one's missing this initial. You could easily just say, hey, I need this initial here. I need this initial here. The nice thing is like for this form, I know it's small so you can't read it, but this one says and licensee. So if your agent forgot to initial something all the way through and that's all that's missing from the form, you can just send this to your agent and have them sign it, and then it automatically attaches to their file. So for your agents that always forget to stop by your trust desk when they need a signature, you can actually send it to them to digitally sign, and they get a text message notification that they've got it. I click next. It says, hey, this is who it's going to. Finish, and it's sent. Other questions? All righty. If there's no other questions, I'm going to let you go with your day. Again, best practice is go in, create an eSign, send it to yourself, practice signing it. You cannot break the system. Sending out one eSign before the end of the day today will be very helpful for you. It will solidify all the hour of training. Better yet, if you've blocked out an hour for this training, jumping in right now, testing it out, trying it for the next 20 minutes will make it a much more useful tool than waiting till the end of the day to try it. Again, you can always find our training information on YouTube. And I'm going to share that link with you right now so that you can access our YouTube channel. You can also find and ask questions on our Facebook page. So we do have a Facebook page. If you are a Facebook user, we would love to have you join us. It's a great place to ask questions. It's also a place that we try to give answers that many people have. So for example, the answer to Chris's question about default settings, I will answer that today on Facebook because that's something that more than just one of our users will use. And you can always find our upcoming training on our Showtime profile. I am going to also post that in the comments right now as well. Know that these links you can click on, it won't exit you out of the webinar. And then you can access our training. Everything is recorded and it is emailed out. I'm going to ask about inline signing, but I know that there's no inline signing at this point, and that would be something that would have to be done by our development team. So that would be a feature request. I don't even know if what Chris is asking is possible or if it is a feature request. All righty. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you soon.